Hello, it's Big Soprano, and today I'm going to be talking about my cigarette addiction. Well, currently, I don't have a pack on me, and I probably won't in the future, but I just wanted to talk about my new addiction because these types of videos seem to be getting views on my channel, which is pretty good. I'm already at 100 subscribers, so that's pretty good. But yeah, it all started back in 2018. I get back from my trip to Quebec, and while I was in Quebec, I saw my uncle smoking on the balcony there, and like the smell, like it inspired me. It gave me the idea to smoke cigarettes. So shortly after the trip, my mom buys a pack of cigarettes. I guess she felt inspired too, and decided to smoke some cigarettes, right? Can't blame her. But I asked my mom if I could have some, and I went on to smoke cigarettes like a few times, probably like 3 times. I was like 13 at the time, and I smoked cigarettes out of guilt because I felt like I deserved it for some reason. Like, I don't know, when you're that age, you just kind of feel like everyone hates you or something. Like, I had good friends and a good circle at the time, and I still do, but I just felt like everyone hated me for like little to no reason. Like, probably like there's probably like a few small reasons, but I felt like everyone hated me, you know. I never really touched cigarettes again until 2022. And also, it was like a big deal in my friend group when I smoked cigarettes. Like, I tweeted on my private vent account Twitter and all that, and it got some attention from my friends, and I think they like felt bad for me, thought I was making a bad choice, but like it was like a big deal for some reason back then. But I would not touch cigarettes again until 2022 when I started smoking weed. In 2022, I would smoke weed every single day because my brother got me into it. And it was like around before I left McDonald's, I got hooked on weed, and it was honestly really fun. But brain really does rot your brain. Like, you could feel it, honestly. But my dad would bring me multiple packs of cigarettes because he started to visit more. Like, he probably didn't visit at all in like the past and he probably like visit a few times a year, but he started actually like visiting more and more. So that was pretty nice. And he would give me packs of cigarettes, and they were native smokes too. So they had a very strong smell that I honestly liked. I would make spliffs out of them, thanks to my brother who brought the idea. And they would like make your head spin. Like, I felt like I was spinning. Like, it was honestly like pretty fun when I did it. I probably won't do it again because weed gives me psychosis, like I always say in my videos. But I would smoke cigarettes with weed inside them. That's what a spliff is, for those who don't know. For all the people that came from Twitter and haven't touched a single jug, which is good. That's good. But I thought I would inform you, you know? So that's what spliffs were. Spliffs became my go-to other than smoking weed out of a bong, which was my number one. I would do that all day, every day, and I would probably like work out and listen to music while I'm high. And it was honestly pretty fun. When I stayed at my dad's for a few months, it it was a horrible experience because I was kicked out. I would smoke cigarettes until I was kicked out. It wasn't for the cigarettes. But now that I live with my dad, I could get cigarettes directly from the source because he always bought like a pack, like multiple packs, because they were cheaper the more you bought them, you know? So yeah, cigarettes are pretty expensive. So buying multiple would cost a pretty penny. We don't have pennies here in Canada anymore, but you know, it's a saying, pretty penny. But yeah, I now that I live with my dad, I could get cigarettes directly from the source, and I would smoke weed and cigarettes inside my dad's apartment, and like, which is honestly you're not allowed to do at all. You would get kicked out. But when the landlord checked up on the place, she said nothing about the horrible smell and tobacco spilled all over the desk. Like, she said nothing, not a word. She didn't have a single complaint. She probably was scared of us or something. But I would sometimes smoke 2 cigarettes at the same time back then. And my dad told me not to smoke more than 4 a day and don't inhale. And honestly, I don't remember how many I smoked. On the top of my head, it sounds like 8, but I'm not sure. I don't really have any like evidence to back that up. But 8 is quite a lot, you know. I leave my dad's to for I leave my dad's to stay at the aunt I'm currently with for a while, but this was before I permanently moved in. So while I was staying there, over there, I would smoke cigarettes simply out of guilt, like because like I went through so much that year, and I would smoke cigarettes just out of guilt and depression, and that still affects my smoking today. That feeling. Smoking was like cutting myself at the time. That's how bad it felt, you know? And it's not because it's like actually bad. Like I know it's bad for you, but if you smoke a cigarette, you're not going to feel bad unless you have some, you know, emotional weight to it like I did. So I would only smoke cigarettes if I felt guilty or horrible about myself. And that was not a good habit, honestly. Eventually, I moved into my other aunt's house where my brother got me a vape to get off of cigarettes because they smelled so bad and he didn't want me to get in trouble, which honestly, I appreciate that. But my aunt's friend smoked cigarettes on the balcony there anyway, so it didn't matter. So I moved to the trap, leave the trap, then I go to the shelter where I smoke cigarettes a lot. And this is where that guilt like really started to take over me. My mom said I was even groggy one day because I had a few too many cigarettes that day. Smoking cigarettes was still a thing I did out of guilt until my aunt, who I was with before my other aunt, took me in permanently, where I smoked cigarettes for a while longer. Eventually, my aunt and uncle catch on, even though they already know I was smoking. But the way I would talk about it was uncomfortable and egotistic to them. I would constantly say, "I'm going to smoke a pack," to my aunt, and I come off as an egotistical dickhead who orders people to bring cigarettes out of pride, which is basically who my dad is. My dad hurts others out of like, I don't know, self-fulfillment, and I bet he feels good doing it. So now that I come off like to my dad, I quit cigarettes for like 7 months. I don't know the exact like amount of months, but that sounds about right. I picked up cigarettes again a few months ago, but only for a week, then never again. I get told of an email by HOA saying you can't smoke in the backyard, so I have to go for a walk to smoke. So I quit because the smell in the email made me feel guilty. Like I was so guilty smoking cigarettes before that the smell made me feel guilty. Now I picked up cigarettes again a few days ago, or actually like a week ago, and the feelings of guilt and shame were strong until I got more into smoking again. I smoked a few cigarettes a day the past week, and I slowly got rid of the guilt. Now I can smoke a cigarette without feeling guilty. But now that I've run out of cigarettes, I'm probably not going to buy another pack because I'm low on money and I'm not willing to fully get into cigarettes again and get all groggy.